I used to be in school for software engineering. Here is why I quit that to pick up a second job at Domino's so I can start my own thing. Now, for the last 2 years, up until January of 2025, I was in school full-time while working a job, planning on going into the software engineering field. And I was basically working my way through school, right? I was, we had all the bills covered. I was working an analyst job during the day and doing a full course load at night. Anywhere from 12 to 15 credits, usually. So, usually 4 classes. And I did that for 2 years, and I was doing pretty well. I had a 3.8, 3.9 GPA, something like that. Doing really well in the classes, everything was fine. But something changed in how I was thinking about it right when I started to look at internships. Part of it was I realized it's really tough to get an internship. That's a big part of it. But not just tough, it's that obviously when you're in the software engineering field, they're looking, it's not like it was 3, 4, 5 years ago, right? Like they're looking for people always, but it's very competitive. Like everybody wants to be a software engineer. So they're only going to try to take like the best of the best. So like getting an interview alone is a big deal. And I had a few interviews. But I didn't end up getting like an internship anywhere, but I realized that in order to get the job at most of these places, I had to present a version of myself that was not real. It was very, very similar to the job I already have, right? And that's what I realized, corporate America, regardless of the field, you are going to be presenting a version of yourself that is applicable to the job that you're applying for, right? Now, that might seem like common sense to most of you. You're like, well, yeah, duh. But what I'm saying is I think a part of me thought that if I could get to a place where I was happy with the work, that might not matter to me as much. Turns out it's a lot more difficult than I thought, regardless of how much I like the work. So I was having some conversations with my wife and just explaining how I felt about corporate structure, right? And there's something pretty invasive. I don't have the right words, but invasive is the best word I have. Invasive and sort of cancerous about corporate structure. It requires you to climb at the expense of yourself. And what I mean by that is, in order to make the amount of money most of us want to make in a corporate job so that we're comfortable, we have to devote more of some other resource to the job. Either more of our mental capacity, more of our time, and we start to meld together what is us and what is corporate, what is our job. So much so that there are people that I know who have reached those top levels, right? Like making hundreds of $1,000s a year, but they have become indistinguishable from their career. Like their career is them. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. If you want to have a job like that, by all means. But the problem that I have with that is that if I have to do that, I want to do it on my own terms. I do not want to have to be fake and devote all my time to something. That seems like too big of a price to pay. So, after having this kind of conversation with my wife, I decided it's probably better for me to save up some money and figure out how I'm going to go about this on my own. And really, was about real estate. If you've looked at this channel before, you will see I have videos about like how I plan to get into rental real estate, which is still part of the plan. Now, I decided, all right, well then instead of doing school, since I have all this extra time, I might as well pick up a job. And that's how Domino's came about, right? So I've just been delivering pizzas nights and weekends, whenever I can get scheduled. And then I pick up whatever shifts I can. And so some of you might be thinking after hearing that, like, So you stopped going to school for software engineering to drive delivery at Domino's? Yeah, I did. But understand, that's not the end goal, right? And I think the reason that sounds funny to people is because we've spent way too much time devoting our thoughts to what sounds acceptable to other people for our own lives. And the problem with that is, when you do that, your whole life choices get based on what other people think is good for you. Do you know how many people, if they were in my position, I mean, just consider this, right? I was going to school for 2 years and I was cash flowing out of my own pocket, right? I didn't get student loans because we were debt free this whole time. I was cash flowing out of my own pocket this school, right? I probably spent close to 20 grand, if not 20 grand on school, and then quit. Done, right? So people were like, so I'm sure people were thinking to themselves, you just lost and wasted $20,000. Maybe, if that's how you think about it, maybe. But for me, that was the cost to understand that school, that wasn't for me. And I'm okay with that cost. You know why? Because I had saved money and it's no skin off my back. I easily saved more money on top of that. Like, I'm not worried about it. Also, the money's already spent. So like, when people say that, right, they think to themselves, think about how many people in that situation would have said, well, I have to make this work because I've spent $20,000 on it. It's not, you are not getting that money back. The money is spent. So if it's not for you, be okay with the reality that it's not for you. But too often, we are afraid of looking foolish. So we make decisions long-term that we know are bad for us so that we can seem like we're doing the noble or the smart thing to people who don't actually pay our bills. And I just reached a point earlier this year when I came, like in 2025, when I said, hey, I want to do all this stuff, I got to accomplish all this stuff this year. I decided, you know what? That's dumb. That's just dumb. Like, why am I living my life for anybody else other than me? I'm the one that these bills are going to come for. I'm the one that the bills are in my name. Like, this is about me, my family, and if we are good, why do I care what anybody else thinks? Same thing with Domino's. Like, you might look at my videos and be like, this guy's in a Domino's head all the time talking about money. Like, what does he know? I don't care if you think I know anything about money or not. You know, like I said in the last video, I'm worried about results, not opinions. And my results are a lot better, funny enough, than a lot of people who make a lot of money. So I've just decided that I have done the best in my life when I have bet on myself and done things that made sense to me and not done what the crowd does. And the crowd goes into massive debt for school. The crowd follows corporate America until they tell them they can retire. The crowd thinks that going out on your own for a business is very risky. But you know what? I would rather lose betting on myself 10, 15, 20 times than spend another minute doing something that I don't want to do, that I know will make me miserable. And you know what? Being in that room where I was interviewing for software engineering jobs was probably the most miserable I've ever been in a really long time. And that just opened my eyes about how much I didn't want to do it. I had selected that because, one, I knew I'd be decent at it, because I formula-based things that have processes, I'm decent at. And I knew it would be something that if I told other people, they would react positively. No more. Now, when people say, what do you do? I tell them, well, during the day, I'm an analyst. And at night, I deliver pizzas. And I say it with a smile. Because I know I'm working towards this business that I'm going to start. And again, I will get into details about how that's going to go once we have everything set up. I don't want to just be premature and that kind of stuff, but I'm so much more happier with this path that I know a lot of other people would say is risky, is not smart, not well thought out. But again, the people who do that, the people who say that, are people who are attached to their jobs and they have golden handcuffs. Some of y'all will work and work and work for the rest of your lives, not because you actually want to, but because you have to at this point, because you've run up so much debt for a job some of y'all don't even like, and you don't even make your own decisions. And the thing for me is, if I'm going to be stressed about anything, I don't mind working hard. I certainly don't mind being stressed. But if I'm going to do that, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be the one making the final choices. I'm going to do it for me. I'm going to do it for my family, and we will reap the benefits. I am not going to have someone else determine my salary. So anyway, I just wanted to share that story. 'Cause, I mean, listen, I'm all for being financially responsible. I'm all for getting a job if that job serves a purpose. But I truly believe that a lot of us are not destined to work jobs our entire lives. And I've always been a believer in, if you have an idea, see what it's going to take. Like, go for it. Because if you listen to conventional wisdom, you will look up, you will be 60 years old, you will be hoping that retirement fund has enough in it, and you will look around and say, where did my life go? And I don't want to live like that. So yeah, that's why I made the decisions I make. And that's another reason why I'm on this channel so much. Like, I told myself for 2025, I'm gonna take YouTube a little more seriously. I'm not saying I'm gonna be like master editor and like, I'm not saying all that, but I'm gonna be real about who I am, and I'm gonna share exactly what I want to share. I'm gonna do it often because I have a lot to say. If y'all haven't noticed, I talk a lot. So why not put it on YouTube for somebody else who might benefit? So yeah, this is a little bit of a longer video. Again, if you are somebody who is considering taking that chance, I'm not saying do it irresponsibly. I'm not saying just throw everything out the window and just be out here hoping that something's gonna work. But if you got an actual plan and you fleshed it out, shit, don't let anybody else tell you that the smarter choice is to keep your job for the next 30 years. Because those people who are successful traditionally seem to be the most miserable to me. So anyway, that's all I got to say. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.